Who gave you these papers? You can't be here! I'm Colonel and I have more rights than you bloody civilian!
The terminal buzzed with familiar disorder, rolling suitcases rattling, announcements echoing, children darting ahead while weary parents trailed behind. From the viewer's perspective, everything felt routine until it didn't. A decorated Army colonel stepped inside, his polished shoes tapping a rhythmic, disciplined beat against the tile. Colonel Elias Thorne moved with the gravity of a man carved from obsidian, his deep-set eyes focused and his dark skin contrasting sharply against the crisp blues of his uniform. Medals rested heavy on his chest, reflecting the overhead lights. Today wasn't another assignment. Waiting on the tarmac was a flag-draped casket. Private Aaron Cole, just 21, gone far too soon. Thorne adjusted his cap, steadying his breath. He wasn't here for recognition. He was here for a promise. No one gets left behind. At the airline counter, he placed his orders and ID down. The agent barely looked up, fingers clicking. Then, a pause. Too long. She looked at the ID, then up at Thorne, her eyes lingering on his face with a flicker of something cold. She glanced sideways to a coworker, a stiff, rehearsed smile settling on her lips. "I'm escorting the remains of a fallen soldier," Thorne said, his voice a low, steady rumble. "Everything is in order." She avoided his gaze, sliding the papers back. "There's a security protocol for this specific ticket." Policy. The word hung heavy. Thorne didn't move. Neither did the doubt creeping through the line behind him. Have you ever felt that moment when you know the truth is being dodged? If this tension already has you leaning in, tap like and stay with us, because this promise was about to be tested. The air at the counter felt heavier by the second. Colonel Elias Thorne stood unmoving as the line behind him slowed, conversations fading into uneasy silence. A supervisor finally stepped forward, mid-50s, tired eyes, a practiced condescending tone. He apologized without really apologizing, hiding behind the same word again: policy. Thorne's jaw tightened. He had flown missions across borders and navigated politics far uglier than this. "There's no policy that stops a military escort with federal clearance," he said evenly. "So what's the real reason?" The supervisor shrugged, his voice dropping to a dismissive silkiness. "It's nothing personal, Colonel. Nothing personal. Have you ever noticed how that phrase usually means exactly the opposite? It's the verbal shield people use right before they treat you like you don't belong." Murmurs rippled through the crowd. A man in a worn USMC cap stepped out of line, his voice steady but sharp. "I've seen enough checkpoints to know a stall when I see one. I've never seen protocol stop one of ours from bringing a brother home." Phones came out. The shift was instant. What had been quiet discomfort turned into collective, digital attention. The supervisor retreated, claiming he needed to check with corporate. Thorne remained still, shoulders squared, his dark silhouette a pillar of dignity against the chaos. If you were standing there watching this unfold, would you stay silent or speak up? Stay with us, because the room was about to realize this wasn't just a delay. The terminal no longer feels like an airport. It feels like a courtroom. Colonel Elias Thorne remains steady at the counter while the crowd behind him grows restless. A young woman lifts her phone, her voice trembling with conviction. "I'm live," she says. "People need to see how they're treating this man." That's when everything breaks open. Recording lights blink. The supervisor is nowhere to be found. Then, whispers spread. It's trending. A bold post flashes across screens, calling out the blatant obstruction of a Black Army colonel escorting a fallen hero. The internet doesn't stay quiet. Veteran groups weigh in. The airline's social media mentions catch fire in real time. Have you ever watched a moment tip from private injustice into public reckoning? Finally, the supervisor returns, this time trailing a sharply dressed airline executive who looks like he's seen a ghost. Apologies follow. A system error, they claim. Thorne lets the silence answer first, his presence filling the space they tried to deny him. The apology sounds rehearsed. The executive offers first-class seating and travel vouchers, trying to buy his way out of a PR nightmare. Colonel Thorne doesn't bite. He asks the question that freezes the room. If no one had recorded this, would I still be standing here? Silence answers before anyone dares to speak. Thorne's voice stays calm but firm. This isn't about upgrades. It's about the young soldier downstairs. Suddenly, airport security appears, but they aren't looking at Thorne. They are looking at the executive. A major news outlet has picked it up. The truth is already out, and the executive's face drains of color as his phone rings incessantly. Just then, the crowd parts. A man in a dark blue suit enters. Major Elias Ward, Department of the Army. He shakes Thorne's hand and turns to the airline staff with a look of absolute steel. "We're done here, we're taking over." The room exhales as Major Ward delivers the final word. The Colonel and Private Cole will not be flying commercial. A private military transport is already on the taxiway. The executive tries to stammer a final apology, but Ward cuts him off. "Save it for the board of directors." Thorne walks away, not toward a gate, but toward the tarmac, duty completed with dignity. But for the airline, the nightmare was just beginning. Within 48 hours, the video reached 50 million views. The nothing personal comment became a viral symbol of corporate bias. By the end of the week, the airline's stock plummeted by 12%. Under immense public pressure, the CEO was forced into an early retirement. The supervisor and the agent, not just fired, but blacklisted from the industry. The airline was eventually forced to pay a multi-million-dollar settlement to a veteran scholarship fund in Private Cole's name, a forced penance for a moment of cowardice. Colonel Thorne finished what he came to do, standing beside the Cole family in the quiet grass of a small-town cemetery. No cameras, no headlines, just honor. Here's the question that lingers. Should respect require public outrage to exist? From the other side of silence. Toss Stories, where real voices rise and truth finds its echo. Like, subscribe, and share this story, because next time it might not go viral, and that's when it matters most.